This conference will now be recorded.
So any queries in the previous session? Like we are discussing about the servlets, right? And as I told, we have seen the simple flow.
Yeah, no queries for me.
Okay. Basically, we are doing why we are using like J2EE or advanced Java to build up develop a web applications or enterprise applications, and we have seen what is a little difference between enterprise and web. So as per, we'll be covering only the web application, like as I told you, right? So we'll just create a web page where you have an like a user ID and password, and we'll enter some data, and what happens, it will go to the backend. So in the like in the server level, we do the processing. After that, we go to the database, and in database we check that whether the data present or not. So if that user ID password present in the database, we just throw like we just sign in telling it we just tell that okay, your login is successful. If the user does not present in the database, we tell that okay, you have incorrect user ID password. It is simple like that. So I think you're familiar with database and like queries. What is database? These things, SQL, like had an idea on it or nothing? Very new to that.
Yeah, we have basic idea.
Okay, that is good. So we see how we do with the Java programming. Okay. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So first of all, like we need 3 pages to do that art thing, architecture. So here we have seen it, right? So to design this, you need an HTML page, and to design the servlet, like you will have a servlet page, right? So like to do a servlet, you will have a Java class that you will extend some generic servlet or some servlet and make that normal Java class as a servlet class. And you will have a database connection, and to make the communication between your HTML and a servlet class, you will have a web.xml file. So you see everything. So we'll design one HTML page and one servlet class. Do that, and web.xml. Why you need a web.xml is nothing but to make the establishing the relationship between your HTML and servlet, because in application you'll have a lot of HTMLs and a lot of servlets. So when the action comes from a particular servlet, when the action comes from a particular HTML, so which servlet I need to go, so that will be defined in your web.xml. Okay. So first of all, to write a servlet, so there are 3 ways that you can create a servlet in Java. 3 ways to do servlet, but we'll be doing with HTTP. So which is like best way of doing a servlet, because there are some disadvantages with other things. So that's the reason. The first way is by implementing servlet interface. So servlet is an interface. So whenever we do an implement, what you need to do, you need to override all the methods that are present in your servlet. So your servlet will have a 5 methods, like it will have init, new, service method, servlet get info, destroy. So all these methods where you will have that servlet in servlet information or servlet get config context, all this will be present in. There are some different 5 methods available in your servlet thing. So whenever you do implementing servlet, whenever you do a servlet class by implementing, you need to override all that 5 methods. So because interface, you need to do that, right? And the second way is by extending generic servlet. So generic servlet is also the parent of a child of your servlet interface. So here, what is advantage is nothing but whenever you extend it, it is not required you to override. So it is an abstract class. So it has only service method as a like which is not implemented. So if you see, servlet is an interface which has 5 methods, right? So whenever you make any servlet by using implementing servlet interface, you need to override all the 5 methods. And but if you do not need that use also, you need to do it. So generally you will write your code only in the service method. So what generic servlet they done it? So generic is nothing but abstract servlet. So why I'm calling it as abstract servlet? Because in this 5 methods it has overridden the 4 methods, but it has not overridden the 1 method, service method. So that is the reason you call this as a abstract generic servlet. So who is going to override that service method? The class that extends the generic servlet. And here there is a third servlet that you have is HTTP servlet, which is the like a latest one. Like whenever you want, people generally use this HTTP. So why? Because generic also has some disadvantages. So that's the reason they will go with HTTP. Okay. So we see with by extending HTTP. So I will make a servlet class by extending HTTP servlet. So first of all, to have a web application, you need, as I told you, you need a Tomcat server. So I install the Tomcat. I think I should have got that. Okay, I'm not having. So just download it. So as I told you, so you can just go to the Tomcat Apache downloads and you just click on downloads here. So here you will see based on which version, whether it's a 64 or 30-bit your Windows version, you can able to download it. You can download an installer, so which will do that installation. So just click on it. So you see it has been downloaded to your system. So So you can just copy up to pin and paste it. So here you will have an option called servers. So click here to add a new server. So which one we want to add? It is nothing but we want to, so there are different Tomcat servers you can install, like not Tomcat versions you can install, and even you, if you do not want Tomcat server, you can have Red Hat, and there are a lot of servers available. So like JPass, whatever the server you use, you need to be. So here I have used Tomcat, so I'll be selecting that Apache Tomcat, and if you see the version I have used is 8, right? 9, sorry. So I'll be selecting that not Tomcat 9 version. So just browse the location so where it got installed. Otherwise, you can download and install from the like from there itself. Like it is showing an option down. One minute. Okay. You see, I just added the Tomcat. So now when you want to develop a web application, you just right click here, new, and we want a dynamic web project, right? So just click on dynamic web project. So here I just want to do some connecting to the database, right? So something like a registration or login. So my project name I'll give as so some login. Otherwise, I can give something like registration. I think registration is not there, right? Just so I'm giving some project name called registration. Okay, so when you click on this, it will generate a web.xml file. Okay, there is a project called registration. So you have an SRS Java. So this is a package structure it will come. So here in SRS main Java, you will be able to write your so web app, and will have web.xml, web.inf, and you will have a web.xml here. Okay, so in SRS, as I told you, there is one, you need a web.xml to do that. And what is one more thing we need? We need a servlet class. So I'll be creating a servlet class. So servlet is nothing but a plain Java class which extends the HTTP servlet or generic servlet or some other servlet class. Okay, by extending it, you will be getting some additional features. So how you have a Java has an how you are is able to providing an option called to download a Java. Same way you will have an option to download a servlets. New. I will go here. You can see you can select the servlet option here. Servlet. I can give the package name. So com dot registration something like if you want you can give. So the class name I'm giving it as login servlet. The class is something. So if you see the super class, and by default I'm extending it as PP servlet. So which methods you want to override? Do get to post are nothing but the inhalt like the methods which are present in the extra method that are present. You see this destroy service and get servlet. These are nothing but the method init method get servlet info. These are the methods from your what I mean to say your servlet interface. So this is not an abstract class, so it is not mandatory to override it. The methods. So you see, I have created with a login servlet. So where you will be writing a logics here. Do get or do push where you will be writing the things. So this is the first step. Like whenever you send a request from the HTML, so it will be encountered with do get and do post. So we'll see what is this issue. Mostly it will not be. There was an error in Java /XST. Okay, we'll see. Sometimes it will show, but not it will not cause an issue. So here I just want to design a HTML. So where you will be writing your HTML pages is nothing but under your web content. So that's the structure you need to follow. So because your Tomcat server when it starts, it is going to see based on that structure only. So like I'll have an HTML option here. Web app. I'm under web app. I'm just creating. So login HTML. So have you gone through HTML things? What is HTML like tags and everything as I told you? Just have you gone on it?
Yes, Surya.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Can you hear me? As of now, you are clear?
Yeah.
Now we'll write a form. So in HTML, you have an thing called form. So where you will be writing some kind of action, like what some action you'll be writing. So where you will do that submit, based on that action, it will go to web.xml and it will go to that particular servlet. Login is the action I'm writing. And I'm closing the form. Here you will be writing this form is nothing but where on you here you will have a input type like text, whatever you want, so as we want what to design, we just want to design like this, right? So like a text box which will have a take a value, and a text box which will take a password, okay, and a submit button. On submit of it will go here. So for that, it will HTML has provided a defined attribute called input type. So I'll just tell input type equals to what I want. I want that input type equals to text. So I just want to give before that user ID. So user ID also. And what I want, I next want password. So I'll just say input. So where your password will not be, you do not want to visible, right? So for that you can give input type equals to password here. So whenever you give some value, so that value need to be read by backend, right? So the server, for example, if you give Raju and some password is 123, so that value need to be read by your servlet in the backend. So for that, for whatever the value that you are entering in the text box, for that you need to specify a ID, something like that. So ID you will be specifying with attribute called name equals to t1. So this is nothing but just like an ID, where I can able to get the value which is present in the text box in backend. Okay, and what we need, input type equals to submit, right? Type equals to you can close this tags, and let's say whatever the HTML is like, whatever the tag that you opened, it should need to be closed. For example, if you see there's a HTML tag I opened here and we have closed it here. So you see, this is a head tag, and the body is a tag where we will be write the map, like the tags and elements, everything. So this is a body tag we have opened here, and we have closed that body tag here. So inside that body tag, we are taking a form and an attribute called action. Okay, so I do this configuration. So when I click on submit button, so what happens, this thing need to go to which servlet? It has to go to the login servlet. So the application may have lot of things, like you may have home.html and home.servlet. Similarly, you have some employee controller, employee HTML. So like your application will not have only one HTML and one servlet, right? So whenever you do, there will be a lot of HTMLs and lot of servlets. So when the action is coming, when I click on submit button from this page, I need to go to this servlet. So how I can able to know how your container will know, okay, when the action is coming from login, it need to go to the login servlet. It will be because of web.xml. It will take the help of web.xml, where we do that configuration. If the action is from this, need to go to this servlet. So how we define it? With the two tags here under web.xml. Again, we'll be having some tags. So that is nothing but your servlet info and servlet servlet mapping and servlet name. So under that, you will be writing these things. Okay, I think it got hanged. So you'll have two tags, like one is servlet and one more is servlet mapping. So in this servlet, you will be defining what is a servlet name and servlet class. So what is my servlet name? So the name is just like an ID. Servlet name. I opened a servlet tag and I closed the servlet tag. Inside that, I'm writing again some two child tags. So I'm closing that servlet name. Here I'll write that servlet name something like ABC. This is just like an ID. You can give whatever you want to give it. And servlet class. So what is my servlet class? I need to give with a fully qualified name. So what is my servlet class? That is login servlet. So what is a fully packed qualified name? It should be com.registration, because it will go with the package name, right? So it should be with com.registration dot login servlet. If you give only login servlet, it will not work. Okay. After that, again you have one more tag, that is servlet mapping. Again under that you have another two child tags. One is like URL pattern and one more is the servlet name. So what name you will give? Whatever the name that you configured in the servlet name tag, that ABC will be given over here, over there. It is servlet mapping. I opened that servlet mapping, and so when you see HTML and web.xml looks same, like same in the sense whatever the tag that you opened, that tag you are closing. Or the same thing for HTML, or it's like you will just open some tag like with some predefined, and you will close it. So body is a tag I opened and body is a tag I am closing. So but the tags and everything difference, but that syntactical wise it looks same. You see, you opened welcome content and you closed. So whenever you want to write some content, you will opening a tag and you will be writing under that. So here you have a servlet mapping. So I'll just close that servlet mapping. So under a servlet mapping, what are the things I'll be having it? I'll be having servlet name, what is the name I'll give? What are the name I specified over here? What is another tag that we have is URL pattern. Open that URL pattern and close it. So here I'll be giving the action that I specified in the HTML. What is the action that I specified? Login. So this is the place that you establish a relationship. Okay, so that's it. So whenever the action login comes from an HTML page, what happens? Your servlet container is going to come to your servlet mapping tag. Okay, and it is going to see, okay, what is my action over here. So I have an action called login here. So for this particular action, what is the servlet name I have? I have a servlet name called ABC. So it is going to see that ABC name in the servlet. Okay, it is going to find that ABC here. So whenever it finds that ABC here, it is going to go to the particular class. 1 minute, my battery is getting down. Is it clear?
Yes, Surya.
So whenever it comes to login, it will go to web.xml. So it will see, okay, login. For this, they have an ABC. It will go to servlet name ABC. So for that, you have a login servlet. So it will go to the login servlet. So here it comes to here, right? So by default, it will come to do get method. So into get method, I need to read that. So this will have two parameters. You see request and response. So request is the one that will come from HTML, and response is the one that we need to send back, right? So I'm just writing I need to read that things, right? So in HTML, what you have given a name and password. So I need to read that. As of now, I'll just read and redirect it. So next we'll connect to the database. So for that, I'm just reading it. Request dot, I have a method called get parameter. So I'll be passing that string value here, t1. So what t1 will return me? Name. Okay, and I just want to read even the password. So for that, request dot get parameter and t2. Okay, so now I read the user ID and password. So this name is having value which is entered in the text box, and this pass is having the value that user entered in the text box. So now what I'll do, I'll send this to a database. We'll do that backend processing. Okay, before that, I just want to display this name and password to the front end. So for that, I'll have it from a response. I just want to display it, right? So in a response, you have a method called get writer. Okay, so which will return you the print writer object. So this is a print writer object which will be written by your response.getWriter. So out dot, well, so the request is the one where you want to read a thing from input. What is the response? Response is the one when you want to send back again. You get, what do you do generally? We'll get a user ID password, we'll go to the database, we'll do the processing, and we'll just, based on that, okay, we'll say, okay, your user ID password is right, okay, you are incorrect. So that information I just want to send it, right? So for that I need to be using this out.println. So as of now I'm just sending that name itself. So make sure that I'm I'm getting that value and I'm sending back. So that is working fine. So for that I'm just writing out.println. So here I'm writing the value. What is that? User name is okay. I'll not send the password, I'll just send the username. Plus this is the way we do the concatenation. Am I right? Now you just start this in a container. So how I'll start it? So whenever I want to start, I just want that the welcome page login should come. So for that I'll give your welcome file as login. So whenever you are starting, your page comes with login.html. Not sure, when I change something in HTML, it is taking a lot of time. Right click on this. So you can say run as or debug as, anything. So debug as on server. So when you debug it, you can able to debug each and every steps, right? Tomcat server has encountered server cannot be started because one or more ports are invalid. Open the server, did correct the invalid ports. Okay. This is saying some issue with the port numbers. So here is a port number you will be having for the server cannot be started because one or more ports are invalid. Open server editor. It is saying some invalid ports.
Can you try changing the port number itself?
This one, right?
Yeah, make it 8888, anything.
I changed it. It was 808. I just made it as 818, 8081. Like that, I made it.
Okay.
I changed it. So I'm just saying this admin port number, why it is minus, like slash it is. Why this? Editor mode.
Okay, so Google says that you need to have a same port number rather than hyphen. Use the actual port number. Try 8082.
Okay, here also you should having 80801 or 8080.
Yeah, like any port number rather than hyphen.
Okay, that's what it is. Start it. Thank you. I think it is starting. So that's what I was thinking. Why that hyphen is there? Oh, several
No,
80 required by Tomcat already used. The server may running on the port. Okay, change the port number. So,
maybe try different. Yeah.
It is failing to start and this port. Hmm. So it is cannot start on 8081.
Yeah, so try like different port numbers to each of them. Like don't assign the same one. So let's say,
Sorry.
so assign different one to this one here, like 8080, and yeah, something like this one. Yeah, try now.
So like What they are telling,
They like what happened is actually they could not start because the server already opened that port. So
mm, I'll try to stop it where it is running. I'm just trying to see. Nowhere we added it. Mm,
uh, I put some link in the chat.
okay.
The solution they are saying is try reinstalling Tomcat to another port.
So what they're telling, sorry.
They're telling that you must use different ports. If they are not working, try reinstalling Tomcat to another port. So that one is this one. So basically, they are saying while you are installing Tomcat,
Mm,
try to
okay.
install outside of the Eclipse and then define the port number over there.
Okay, outside of the Eclipse. Okay, I
Yeah.
just done it. They're telling to change the port here also, right?
Yeah.
But what port exactly need to be changed? Why the server port came as -1?
Port -1. There are two port numbers. One is the
Server
server
port,
and connector.
connector port, yes. Connector executor port not required.
Mhm.
So I'm changing that, and the end they're telling server port and connector port should be different. So
Different,
I'm
yes.
changing that, yes, server port to 8081 and the connector port we have 8080.
0, okay. Yeah, let's try one more time.
Saved it. I think it will reflect there automatically. I think this server port is this one. Yes, but okay, this is not having an effect, I guess. I think changing there only.
Mhm.
Saying why already in use. Okay, sorry. I'll
Can you
just
make
check
that
and let you know.
8082?
Hmm?
Can you make that 8082 instead of 8080?
This one.
Yeah.
No, started.
Oh, thank you. It got started.
So 8080 is
So,
already reserved for something.
sorry.
Yeah, 8080 port, I think it's already reserved for something in
Yeah, yeah,
Windows.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, it started and it started with that application whenever it's starting. This thing, user ID and password. So I'll just enter some user ID password, something like Raj. So this is how we are expecting, right? Like a text box and a password. So I'll just enter a Raj and something like a password called 123. So you just submit query and username is Raj. So you are going to the backend and printing it, whatever you entered that username. So I'll enter the username called Rahul. Okay. So and password some. So it is go like our HTML is going to backend and that part is working fine. You can submit the query. You see your username is Rahul. So that's what we are returning from the servlet, right? So it's like you can able to read the username and password. Okay, you want me to debug and show or clear? So like what is happening, you are entering, you are having HTML page, we signed it and it is showing as a first page. You can run this in the Chrome also, right? So this is the default browser your what I mean to say, it has been giving like a Tomcat, but you can run that in a Chrome or IE, whatever, wherever you want it. I'm running it in a Chrome. You can see that user ID password came, right? So entering some Surya password to create some number. We are so easy. Password is not visible because we have given the name as password. Text name. So submit. So username is Surya. So now what we do, like we understood, like we are reading the information here and we are going to the backend. And so now we'll tomorrow we'll try to connect the database and see whether the data is present in database or not. And based on that, we'll just fetch the result. So that's it. And tomorrow I'll wind up the session. So any queries?
So far, so good. Need to practice.
Sorry?
Yeah, so far, so good.
Okay, just go with the HTML concepts and whatever we revised, like this advanced may be new to you. So we'll just tomorrow see that database connections. And if you have like, it could be very good if you just like a just little refresh of the SQL database. Please go through that. Then it could be more helpful tomorrow.
Okay.
I have one question, Surya.
Yes, yes.
Question is, in real world scenario, what happens is application server or web server is another machine, right? It is another machine, and your
Okay.
application. So I just wanted to understand from that perspective. For example, let's say we have developed a couple of servlets, and we
Okay.
have developed the HTML file also. So are all
Okay.
these things going to be deployed in one single server, or how is it like?
Yes, so there are a lot of things, right? So for example, what you do, it is not only one project, right? You will have a couple of projects like this registration. There are a couple of things you will be doing it. So like there will be have a lot of servlets, lot of HTML. So what happens? You'll make that as a var or a var file, and you'll deploy that to a server, one server. So here in a local machine, I'm having a Tomcat. So whenever in the real time, whenever you want to run in the production environment or some other environments, you will have a Linux or you will have different kinds of sorry your whatever the servers you will have it, right? So where you will deploy it. So here with this is a Windows and you can able to see it. So in there you will be deploying your whole project and you can able to run it. You will be so that code, that var or jar file will be deployed to the server in that case. So and there is also some advantages with, so whenever you make a big application you need to maintain the server and a lot of things, right? So that's the reason this cloud is coming to the picture, right? You have AWS and you have like Amazon. What happens, they will move the dependency, so it is not worry about your server space, and you do not need to maintain your server, right? For example, whenever you make a project and you want to deploy, you need to buy a server, you need to have a space. So there are a lot of things you need to maintain, you need to take care of. But AWS or Amazon, you just pay for something and they will give that amount of space, and for maintenance like downtime, every time they are going to they are going to take care, right? So that is the reason people are even moving from the like this servers to the clouds. But
That is okay.
So
Yeah,
I
that
like,
was one way.
so
Uh,
like what exactly is your question? I didn't get then. Like, is it what?
no, so the question is like, I understood that you'll be making a war file. So in this war file, all whatever the HTML pages will be there, it will be there in the war file itself. Am I correct?
Yes.
Because for okay. And second thing is, uh, there are many JavaScript validations that happens on the client side. So all those client side validations and JavaScript files are those will be put in this only? I mean this coding itself. Do you
Ah,
get my question?
like you're asking about the HTMLs or JS files. You're talking?
Can you do one thing? Yeah, can you do
Okay.
one thing? You have Google Chrome right now, right? Can you just open it once?
Mm.
Can
Okay.
you open the developer tool?
Developers.
Yeah, developer tool. Developer tool, not developer. That's in fact, no? Developer tools.
Okay.
You can press F12 on your keyboard. Okay,
So
you can.
the
That is what it is. Can you click on that network part?
mm,
Okay, and can you hit one any of the URL? You can open google.com or anything in this particular itself.
okay. 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 I'll open
And
anything like.
so if you open here, then first you'll have to open that. Yeah, can you open that
Okay.
F
Okay. First
developer
of
tool
all,
and
you
then
want me to then okay, got it.
yeah,
You want me to type?
you can open anything.
So as of
So you
now,
see
you are
there is
having.
yeah in network you see there are a lot of components now. See under the name, right? All these components like API.js and you see all these contents, data images. No, can you click on all?
Okay. Okay. Here all. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, and bottom you see these are the components that you got, right?
Yes.
So these all components comes from the server side itself, right?
Yes.
So I was just wondering like all these contents will be there in our war file itself.
Yes.
Okay,
So like whatever the press, like for example, if you like this like pages and everything will be coming it from the from the server itself, because we do not have this data, right? So we do for sure it will be coming, all the data will be coming from the backend itself.
okay. So that is what I was thinking. Okay,
Okay,
I
even I'll
understood,
let you
Surya.
know more clearly. Even I'll just check it out and let you know. So you
Sure.
were just having a query, like for sure Java files, like dot Java files comes from it there. So you are having a query whether that we'll be deploying all the JSP files or Bootstrap things like JavaScript files, whether we'll be deploy into the server, or that's what you're trying to ask.
That's totally correct. What I was thinking was while developing in Eclipse itself, we will create all the JavaScript file, everything. We will keep it here. We will generate a war file and then we will deploy that war file in server. Okay, that is what I was thinking. Because if we do it like that, then once that war file is deployed in the server, this means that uh, that server is having all those components, JavaScript, CSS, PNG, all those files it is having. And then if a user
Yes.
hits any request, it can get all those things from the same server itself. But in real time scenario, sometimes you will see what happens is that
Hmm.
all the image files and all these PNG files, all these files are kept in
Hmm.
other server. They are not kept in the same server
Okay.
because just to reduce the load of server, because when
Yes.
once you
Yes.
hit a server, yeah. So that is what the thing
Ye-
is. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
was
So it
thinking
is.
in that
Uh,
perspective.
Okay, yes, yes. It depends actually. So, for example, if it is a very smaller application and you do not had a load on it, so what happens? They keep everything at one place. For example, if they feel that it has having a lot of information, whatever you told, like to make the load balance of as a server, they used to do everything.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
even I'll just check it more on it and I'll let you know. Fine. Thanks.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you, Surya.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll wind up the session today then. No queries.
Yeah. Surya, one more question. Like, I mean, if you can come up with tomorrow, also. I just wanted to know how to
Yes.
create war fight.
Okay, so generally whenever you do a Maven, you can use a Maven or a built-in tool. So generally whenever you use that Maven kind of thing, by default it will be building it. Okay, we'll just see more clear on it if possible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that will be really helpful.
Okay, sure. I'll.
Thank you, Surya. Thank you. Have a
Okay,
nice day.
thank you.